Hello, 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 and welcome to Exclusive Craft Academy with me, your instructor, Sharon Johnson. I am here to make a Mother's Day plaque with you. Today, I will be making mine using this piece of wood here. Um, you can use tile, you can use acrylic, you can use whatever it is that you choose to use. You would also need a tape measure to be able to measure your project for what it is that you will be creating, okay? Just as well as Oracal 651 vinyl. I have a pink and I also have a white that I will be using, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. I will now open up my Cricut program. Design Space is what I will be using, Cricut to cut. And as you can see here, this is my screen. And for those of you who is new to Cricut and really don't know much about Cricut, this here is the design space. This here is your canvas for what you will work on. Here on the right-hand side, you have your layers and you have your color sync as well. Down here at the bottom, you have slice, combine, attach, flatten, or contour. And then off over here on your, excuse me, on your left-hand side, you also have your toolbar for your template, shapes, projects, images, if you want to upload images or anything like that. You also have, then up top, you have your top toolbar, okay? So the first thing that's going to be utilized is our text, because we need our text to be able to create our Mother's Day board, okay? So what I'm going to do is go ahead and hide my image for now, so that way you guys don't get distracted and you guys will be focused on the board here at hand. Okay, so I have my word here. As far as my text goes, I need to be able to size it to the size of my board, and this is where your tape measure is going to come in handy. Okay, so what you're going to do with your tape measure is you are going to measure your tile. A lot of people pick up the tiles from the glass tiles from Lowe's and Home Depot. They run approximately about maybe $2, $3 a piece, and those are about a 3 by 11.75, I want to say, but just always remember you need to measure your tile. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen really quick so that way I can be able to show you guys how to properly measure your tile if you have never measured tile before, okay? So as you see here, I have my tape measure. And then I have my wood sign for which I'm going to use. What you're going to do is measure it from the top down to the bottom. And once you have your size, you're going to write it down. And then you're going to measure side to side and you're going to write that down. And when you have that written down, that is how you are going to utilize and put together your sizing of your words that you need. So that is why it's important to measure. And I'm going to go ahead and head back over and share my screen. Excuse me. So now this way you can be able to know what size to be able to make your text. So if you went on ahead and measured, okay, and I'm gonna put my measurements up for mine. My board itself going across is 5.25. Um, and then in length, it is 12. And so I'm just gonna use the word mom. So what I'm gonna do is first type out the word mom. I want caps. And now that I have the word mom, I'm just going to pull it out to the size that I want it. And I'm going to go ahead with this here, which is 7 by 2.41 or so. And I'm going to go ahead and get the font that I would like to use. You can use any font that you like. The font that I like to use, just give me 1 second to remove this here. It's a nice bold font, something that's going to stand out. So that way it is nice and thick. And I'll just show you here what it is that I'm speaking of. You have to give it a minute because sometimes Cricut is slow. I also run and use the beta so that way I can take advantage of all the perks when they come out with new things. Now, as you can see here, this font is all right. It's not too shabby. I can go ahead and use this font if I like. If you don't like this font, then you can go ahead and check out another font. This font here. Okay, so you can go through and you can choose whatever font you like. I preferably like to use thick fonts that are like as such. So that way, when we go to do the knockout process, everything shows up really, really nice. So I'm just trying to see if it has the one font on here that I really enjoy to use, but I just pulled this one up here for an example. I'm not quite sure if it is going to be on here. Here it is here. So I'm going to show you what this font here looks like. And it's called Americano. So just give it a minute to load. Now, as you see, this font here is thick, but it is not really as thick as you would really want it, right? So what you can do is you can go ahead and take and you can use the offset to make it larger if you like, or you can just leave it as so, okay? But just know that your fonts are going to be a little, or your font is a little thin in some places and thick in other places. And if you don't like that, then you can always just go back to the other one. Give this some time to load. So I just wanted to give you some different choices for you to be able to see and check out the different fonts. And I will show you a few more. As you see, it takes a little bit for things to come together. Then we have this font here you can also use. Okay, it's just all up to you and your preference and what it is that you are trying to use. Some of these fonts are system fonts, some of these fonts are brought in. Now, if you are strictly wanting to use the system fonts and what it is that they have to offer, I'm going to go ahead and just click on here. As you see, that's Cricut. The system fonts is the fonts that I already have on my computer, and not just on my computer, but some of them are mixed in with the Cricut as well. So if you're just going to use the system fonts that you have for your machine, then what you're going to do, for instance, I have Cricut, so I put it on Cricut font and it's going to give me all the Cricut fonts. If you have Silhouette, then maybe it'll just give you the system fonts for Silhouette and Brother and Star and so forth, okay? So as you can see the different fonts here that they have to offer, this font here is a pretty nice font as well. Aldeling, I believe that's how you pronounce that. So I'm just going to click on that so that way you can be able to see what that font is and you can see what the A next to it. If you are not paying your monthly subscription, then you would have to pay for this font here. I will not have to pay for any fonts or anything that I use here on Cricut Design Space because I do pay the monthly subscription. So I'm just going to click off that and let it get itself together. And as you can see here, I do have my font. Now what I want to do is let this finish doing its loading or however it does. You guys just have to excuse it because it does that sometimes. So while that's loading, what I'm going to do is go over here and grab my text again. And as you see, I have my text again. Okay, now for this one here, The font that I like to use is I Love Glitter. Um, I'm not sure if Cricut has that. It's usually one of my system fonts. So if you don't have that, make sure that you please go over to the font so that way you can be able to utilize the I Love Glitter font as I have here, which is I Love Glitter. You can pick this up off of the font, which is a free download font program, if that is something that you choose to utilize, okay? So as you can see here, I'm going to highlight it so that way I can be able to type in here. Like I said, sometimes the Cricut takes a little while for it to load and do its thing. So I'm going to try to give it a few and see if it's going to switch over for me. So let me delete this here and see if that's going to get itself together. Okay, so now that has stopped moving about, which is a good thing. What we can do is ungroup the letters and bring them in closer together. If you like, we can stretch them in different sizes and whatnot. Okay, now remember like how I said that my plaque was approximately about 5 inches wide and it's about 10 inches long. What I can go ahead and do is change the height, and I'm going to change that to about a 4. Lock it in place, and this should actually stretch it out. We have to just give it a few minutes. Sometimes that's what happens. Unfortunately, that's Cricut for you. Okay, so as you see, it has shifted around. So you can always do different things like this to change the size of your font. And so I'm going to bring this in and see what the 3 looks like. Okay, and now that we are at 3. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my other font that I need, for which I have here. I am going to double click on it, and I am going to type out the names. And as you can see, when it comes to the capital T, it did not make the T that you are normally seeing. So, you have those different ones. Now, if this isn't something that you like and you want something to be able to give you some really nice, good font all the way across the board, without having kind of like that extra on it when it comes to your letters, you can always choose another font. And I'm going to take away I Love Glitter. And you can just go through and see what it is that you have, especially here when it comes to Cricut, if you're just using straight up Cricut. Um, and you can see which one it is that you like. Okay, so I just want to show you guys that so that way you can know that you have the different options. Let's see what this one here looks like, because we can always adjust our letters and whatnot if it's not something it is that we like. And I will show you that part as well. Okay, so you see I have that. To let it finish loading itself. And I hate when it does that. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump this and then we're gonna try that again. Let's just give it a few minutes. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna click over here. And I am going to grab a font that is cursive. I'm going to go back to my system because I have a lot of different fonts that are in my system that I really like. Okay, so that is why I came back over here to my system. So it's all about finding the font that you like to be able to have things the way that you want things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this one here. Excuse me, it's called Baby Althena. And give that a minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. This is what happens sometimes with Cricut. All right, so my font is there. Come on now. So once I get this to highlight, then I'm going to go ahead and do the other portion, which is my text. As soon as it loads. Okay, now that it is loaded, I'm gonna double click on it. And I'm gonna type out my children's name. And sometimes you have to play around with the Cricut to be able to get it to where you want it. So that is what I am doing. So I have my children's names. And now that I have their name, I'm going to come up top. And as you see here, I can do some different things with this here, right? So what I'm going to do is change this font here in the back to make it a little thicker. And I'm going to add in some other things. Okay, so now that I have that, and I just use the first font that's up here on top, which is in my system. And I'm going to move this up. I'm going to click on this top one here. And I am going to make my font size larger. Like so. I'm going to line this up to the best of my ability. To the middle, you can also use the the alignment up here, if you like. You have to just pull it in together and you can work it like that, okay? But I'm just gonna eyeball it for now to get it as I want it. Okay, and now that I have it in the position that I want, what I am going to do is add me some hearts. I'm gonna go here to my shapes. I don't remember if it's hearts, and it is hearts, so I'm gonna click on hearts. I'm gonna make this heart smaller. I'm gonna add a heart in between, like so. Then I'm gonna duplicate this heart here, and I'm gonna bring this one over here, like so. Okay, so now that I have that, I can add another heart here on the end if I like, or leave it as is. And what I'm doing is looking up at the top, and I'm actually using that for my guide on the size of my letter. So as you can see up here, I have both my M's lined up. This one here, it put it into a full box and it leaves me 3 lines. This one over here is almost into a full box and I don't have my 3 lines. So I just pull this out some, and that's how I am going to use to line it up. And then I'm going to bring this up here to center it out once again. And now that I have it centered, if I want to stretch this out, I can stretch it out to 7. Bring it over just a tad. Okay, and now that I have that, what I am going to do is take this part here, which is the names, and I'm going to get the hearts as well. So now I have the names and the heart, and I'm going to go up here to combine, and I'm going to weld it. Okay, so now that it is welded together, the next step that I'm going to do is click on it, and I'm going to click on my offset. I'm going to let it load. And then I'm going to adjust the size of my offset. And I want a good size offset, but I don't want it too large. So I'm going to try the 0.125 to see how that looks. I'm going to click off and see. Okay, so it didn't do as I needed. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to try again. Like I have said before, Cricut kind of does its own thing. So you have to just kind of try to work with it to the best of your ability. And I'm gonna bring it down just to smidge it more and see how that looks and see if I like that. So let me see what this here is. And I might just go ahead and click apply, and maybe it will give me the changes that I need. And so I will see. Okay, so there we go. And now you can see what my offset looks like. I'm going to hold shift and click on the top one as well. So now I have my offset in the other half all put together. I'm just gonna try to line this up here. If I'm not quite sure, You can always use the C line here if you like, but sometimes it throws that off, so I really don't use that. But I just wanted to just point that out to you. So like I said, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball this, and I like it like that. I can also bring it down some, and that looks good. So while that looks good to me, I'm gonna go ahead and cut off my weld. I'm gonna cut off my weld, and I am going to go ahead, or maybe let me grab this, and I'm gonna put it down there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna take this here, and I'm gonna pull it all together, and then I'm gonna go here, and I'm just gonna simply slice. Okay, I'm going to slice it. And it looks like it sliced it a numerous of times when I didn't need that many times, but it's okay. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and line this up here, so that way you can be able to see what it looks like. Okay, and here it is lined up. Okay, now for the back, let me give that some color. And I'm going to give this front, the names, some color. I'm gonna go ahead and make that blue. Pull this down like so. And this is what it's gonna look like when I go to put it on my board. Now you can remove, you can put the names up, down, middle, however it is that you wanna put it, but this is just the way that I have put it. Now this other here, I can delete it because I don't need it. So I'm just gonna delete all that there because I don't need that. So now that I have everything the way that I need it, my next step is to go ahead and click make. I don't need to save it. I'm just going to go ahead and just move on through. Here's my names. Here is my outer portion for which I need that is going to be, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to mirror it because we are not working with HTV. We are just working with Oracal 651 permanent vinyl. So I have my mom here, and then I have the names here. So what I'm going to do is click continue. Let it find its motion. Like I said, sometimes it goes kind of slow and sometimes it goes fast. So I'm going to choose premium vinyl, and I'm going to click more. I do that just to make sure it cuts all the way through. If your blades need to be sharpened, please make sure that you have a fresh sharp blade or use foil to be able to sharpen it. Okay, once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and load everything onto my mat. So let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen so you can see what it is that I'm getting ready to do. I'm gonna take my mat and my vinyl. I'm gonna go ahead and use the white. I'm gonna place that on my mat. This side up on one end. And then I'm gonna get my other vinyl here. And I'm going to slice it down to the size that I need. And I'm going to show you what it is that I do. to save time. Okay. So now I have it on both of them on my mat, right? Now you can do this too if you like, or you can do the other way. So let me go back to share my screen so that way you can see as to why I did this. Okay, so here, as you can see, I have my first cut, which is here on the blue mat, and then I have my second cut. Now, I have them on there as I had showed you. I'm going to take and I'm going to rotate my white, and I'm going to click on my blue. Let me cancel this out really quick. So this way you guys can be able to do the same method if you like, to make it easy so you're not switching mats back and forth. So the names are going to be white. And so since I have the names white, I'm going to say move the object, and I'm going to move it over here to the pink, and I'm going to click confirm, and I'm going to bring it down. And I need to bring it down below where my first one is that I have, which goes down to 5. So I'm going to move this one here down to 6, and I'm going to place it there. I'm going to go back under since I had already measured to make sure that everything is going to fit. And I'm going to place it right underneath of the pink one. So now I have a pink vinyl and I have a white vinyl. The pink vinyl is going to be the mom here that's going to cut out, and the white vinyl is going to be the names that's going to be cut out. So click continue. It's going to load. Select my material, premium vinyl, and I'm going to go ahead and click more, as I said once before. As to why I do this because I make sure it cuts out all the way, and just make sure that everything is good. Everyone doesn't do that, but that is just something that I do, just for my own sake. Okay, so now that I have that, the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and load it onto my Cricut. And I'm going to go ahead and press the C to cut it. Okay, while that's cutting, I'm going to go ahead and get my board out. And my weeding tool. Okay, so I have my board and my weeding tool. Please excuse the mess in the background. That is just extra storage and products that I work with. So as you see here, I have my board, I have my weeding tool, and I also have my heat gun. I like to use the heat gun regardless on what it is that I am heating it to, just because it helps it to be able to heat to the product that you are putting it on without it being easily removed. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug this up. Here. My vinyl is just about done cutting. And then we are going to get busy. Before I forget, one more thing that you are going to need is transfer tape, for which I have here is my transfer tape as well. Okay, now that it's done, it is time for us to remove what it is that we don't need. So I'm just going to squeeze my mat sideways to be able to get all this stuff. So now that I have that, the first thing I'm going to do is do my letters. I'm going to trim off the excess vinyl, and I use that later on for something else. Yes, I do keep my smaller pieces as well, because I can also use those with the punches and whatnot. So now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the excess vinyl that I don't need. And you know what? I think I cut this on the wrong, and I did. So I'm gonna have to recut the name out, but it's okay because I used the wrong stencil. I actually used the stencil and not for my letters. So I'm just going to recut that, but I'm gonna go ahead and just move forward with this part here. And then I'm gonna put the other one back on there to cut. So don't do like I just did. Make sure that you pay attention to what it is that you are using and pulling out. I have so much vinyl that I really didn't pay any attention, and I didn't bother to actually look at the back, but it is quite okay because I can go ahead and weed out my first part, which is my mom. I'll go ahead and weed this right on out. I'm just going to slowly peel it back. And make sure that I leave behind all the pieces that I need to leave behind. And it kind of folded back on me. So I'm hoping I'm not taking away something that I don't need to take away, but I shall see. I might end up recutting this one over too, but we are going to see what we can do. Careful because this stuff is pretty durable. Oh, well, then it caught on to the other side. Let me try to make sure that I have everything. I will go back and look at my screen to make sure that nothing got pulled out of place. So as you can see there, that I did weed that one out. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this other one here really quick. I'm just gonna head back over here. I'm gonna look back, and it looks like I did lose one little piece, but I think that it will be all right. So I am just going to keep this and work with this and grab my other white that I have in here. Here it is here. And I am just going to recut out the names. So like I said, oh, I should have just canceled that. So like I said, just make sure that you are using the right one. If you have more than one color, make sure that you are double checking before where you cut it, so you don't make the same mistake that I did. So as you can see on my screen for what it is that I'm going to cut, I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that one. Okay, so the same process once again. I'm going to connect. I'm going to go ahead and select premium vinyl more, and then I'm going to recut out my name. Okay, smooth this down. While this cut, I will do the other part of it. Let me go ahead and stick this in here really quick. Okay, so now I have that going. What I'm going to take, my transfer tape, I'll just set that on top to make sure that I'm getting the right size out that I need. Go ahead and take that piece of vinyl off that wood. I'll lay this flat. I'm going to rub it across with my hand for now. Grab my squeegee. Squeegee is always important. Now that I have that, grab everything I need to grab. Flip it over, do it like that so I can kind of rub the spots, be able to get everything off in a heave like I need. I'm gonna peel. Now that I have that, I'm gonna bring this forward. Now, I don't coat these, but if you want to coat yours, you can, but I don't coat mine. So I'm just going to line this up in the middle to the best of my ability. squeegee. Squeegee it on there. I'm just going to slowly peel this back. Yes, it picked up a little bit of from off of the paint, but it is quite all right. Okay, so now that I have that off, it's time to get the name right. And then once I have the name down on here right, you will see the next process. So the next thing that you're going to do, like I showed you before, I'm just going to cut off the end for the extra. And I have a little, but not a lot, so I'm not going to really worry about that there. Oh, about that there. I'm going to go ahead and roll this off. With me using white, it's a little difficult to see, but if you are peeling it at an angle, then you will be able to still see the outline of your letters. Face off. Face off. See if your sister does. Sorry about that, you guys. Just talking to my girl really quick. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and peel that. Now that I have that peeled, I'm gonna go in and take out the extra that I don't need for my letters. And yes, I just slap it on my fingers and just keep going. That way I'm not fiddling around with putting it in a little trash or something. Okay, so now that I have that, make sure everything is good. Missed one. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and take me a row, some more transfer tape. There's that. Put that right on top of here. Flip it over like I did the other one. And peel it back. Okay, now comes the fun part where you're gonna line it up in between here to make everything fit as is. Okay, now that I have that in there, just gonna rub it down with my fingers. Come back and use my squeegee. And then I'm gonna take and peel it off. Okay, now that I have that, now I'm gonna take my heat gun. Make sure it's hot. I am just going to go over it with my heat gun. Make sure that everything is a heat really nice. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm just gonna go over it with my finger and I'm just gonna rub it into the wood. Okay, just rub it on into the wood. And you'll know when it's on there really good, especially with the wood, because you will see some wood grain lines that will appear through your vinyl. And there you have it. You have a beautiful mom sign. And I have my girls' names on there. Now, if you want to add some flowers here, you can add some flowers on here. You just want to add hearts, you can add hearts. You can be able to hang this if you don't want to hang it. And then you can be able to take and get you a stand, and you can be able to place it on a stand as well, or you can hang it as I have stated. I hope this tutorial was very helpful to you in learning how to do the knockout and do the signs. Okay, now you can make these signs here for anybody, any time of year. Always makes great gifts. Mother's Day, Father's Day, weddings, anniversaries, and whatnot. Thank you for watching. Until next time.